Wealth Our Way Wednesdays, 12:30 p.m. 15 minutes of finance. What do you do when you're starting from the mud with less than zero? No plan, no role model, no hero. Take to the streets, bring heat like De Niro, or tune in the wild, the network, the thorough. If it was me, I'd sit down with a pad and a pen, hit my homie Shitty's thoughts with a friend. Tank is spitting real knowledge from beginning to end. 15 minutes, Wealth Our Way, let the lesson begin. Yeah, 15 minutes of finance with your man, Big Tank. Let's get it. What is going on, my people? It is your main man, Charles Tank Harris. I feel like it's been a while, but it's only been a week. But did you miss me? Anyway, welcome to episode 217 of 15 Minutes of Finance, where today we will be discussing making rising interest rates work for you. Before we get started with today's content and program, I want to jump right into our go or no go segment today. So when I spend my time trying to figure out what we're going to talk about as a topic, I then go through the emails, the text messages, the direct messages on social media, and I try to match up the go or no go with the topic of the show for the day. So today's go or no go is dealing with bank accounts. Our subject for today received a solicitation, which is something you get in the mail from your bank, sometimes you get a phone call, asking you to change your bank account, change your bank products. What you guys need to realize, and I feel like I'm having a deja vu moment because I was just talking to a client about this, explaining to them what the financial service provider in the bank, what their job is, how they got that job, who they are, what their skill levels normally are. What you'll find is inside of a bank, banks have a big amount of information on you financially. It's more than you may think that you're giving them access to. But the same way I tell you on Wealth Our Ways programs that everything starts with a budget, and when you start with a budget, you need to go back through all of the areas that money leaves your house, leaves your pocket, whether it's your bank account, your credit cards, your paycheck that has direct withdrawals off of it. You need to see anywhere that the money that's supposed to be coming into your domicile, what areas does it escape from? And the bank is a key component in that. They can just look at your account and see what you like, what you do, where you spend your money. And they have a home field advantage. So I'll give you an example for myself. I had shared on an earlier program this year that I sold one of my practices earlier this year, received a lump sum. It was a 6-figure lump sum wired into my bank. I got a phone call from the bank the next day asking me that I want their next account up. And that's what this person who sent me the email about their bank account received. They received a phone call telling them that they keep a high enough daily balance in their account that they should switch up to the Premier Bank account. And it's at a major national bank in America, a big, big bank. And the rate that they currently have a checking account that they get 0% on, and they were being offered by their bank to upgrade to a checking account that would give them 0.25%. And they basically said they keep about $25,000 in this account, give or take over the course of a year. They'll never go below 20,000. This is not an account that they use for daily liquidity. So I was telling the person to think about this. So let's say 20,000 is your floor number, and you're going to get 0.25% on $20,000. Well, 10% of 20,000 is 2,000. Move in one more decimal place to get to 1%, and 1% of 20,000 is 200. Take 1/4 of that to go from 1% to 1/4%, and your 200 goes down to $50. $50 represents 1/4% of $20,000. So in the grandest scheme of things, yes, we are not talking about a lot of money. We're talking about $50 over the course of the entire year. But $50 It's better than $0. So the question becomes, is there anything else to this other checking account that I have to worry about? Are they making me write bigger checks? Because some accounts will, like money market accounts, give you checkbooks, but tell you you can't write a check smaller than $5,000. So if we're going to use this for our daily spending, probably not the best idea. What are the fees? Because that was another thing that was very important in this email, was that the Premier account has higher fees and more frequent fees. But so long as you stay over a $10,000 minimum account balance in the month, the fees are waived. But what happens if for one mysterious moment you need to write a big enough check, takes you below 10,000? What are those fees? And the fees were quite expensive. So as I looked at this, I responded to this person that I would say it's a no-go to switch to the Premier account. What I would do is look for another bank. And we've been seeing a lot of news this year about banks going down and there being a run on banks. As long as you are banking at a facility that has FDIC insurance, and maybe I'll do a whole program on FDIC insurance one day, because it's not exactly what people think it is, but it's helpful. And FDIC insurance has been raised to $250,000 per person per account at banks. When I first got into the business, it was $100,000. And we went through the economic crisis of 2008, and President Obama raised it from $100,000 to $250,000. There was talk of it going back to $100,000. Does not seem to have done that. $250,000 is where they have kept it for right now. So as long as you're banking with a bank that has FDIC insurance and you keep your account underneath the FDIC insurance limits, you don't have to worry about losing your money. Start looking for a better bank with better rates. I suggest nerdwallet.com. Just click on best of banking and good luck. Like, there's a lot of stuff there. I love NerdWallet. With that being said, let's talk about making rising interest rates work for you. One of the reasons this person got this solicitation is that interest rates have been going up. And with interest rates going up, banks are now paying people more money to keep their accounts. They're not paying us enough, but they're paying us more. I feel like we should do a whole program. I've done it before, but just as a refresher, on how the Federal Reserve Bank works and how money works, how interest is earned by clients and how interest is paid by clients, what the banking system is all about. Your money goes in the bank takes that money and pledges it as collateral to the Federal Reserve Bank so it can borrow money at a certain rate. And then it takes the money that it borrows and it lends back out to its customers. And that's the circular banking model. As rates go up, as it costs the bank more money to borrow from the Federal Reserve Bank, they charge you more money to borrow from them. Conversely, as they are able to make more interest on deposits, they should be in turn giving you more interest on your deposits. So that's how that's supposed to work. How can we assure that when rates going up and we want to get more money on our checking account, our money market account, our savings account, how can we ensure that we are taking advantage of these higher rates? We have to educate ourselves. I know I find a new and improved way to come on here every week and tell you a version of the same message, that you have to be financially active. You have to seek out the financial life that you want to have. And what you come here for are tips to get it done. And the tips that I try to give you to get it done don't require you doing anything that's too far off your beaten path of how you live your life, because we all know that if change is required, a significant amount of change, the likelihood of us doing it and keeping consistent with what we've changed is small. So we want to, who we are is who we are. And we want to look at our life and see, how can I make a slight alteration that's not going to pull me too far out my comfort zone and start doing things financially in a better way for me and my family. So with that being said, I've come up with 3 tips on how you can take advantage of rising interest rates and make sure that you are putting more money in your pocket. Number 1, you need to go, so NerdWallet. So we're going to start and end with NerdWallet. Let's just be clear. I'm not paid to talk about NerdWallet. I pray one day that NerdWallet gives me an endorsement deal because I do love them and I sing their praises and I might as well get paid for telling everybody about them. But NerdWallet, they're not to the point yet where they have so much information on their site that it's so confusing that you can't find anything. That's one of the problems with content sites. You get so much information, everything is there. And if everything is there, it's like nothing is there because you can't find it. NerdWallet is very well segregated and separated. You can click on banking, you can click on credit cards, you can click on student loans, you can click on auto loans, you can click on insurance and go through their little subtitles. I would suggest you do so. Start looking at high yield online savings accounts. As I've always told you in your budget, some of your money should be earmarked for investments, some for savings. The part that's earmarked for savings, you should break that down into long-term savings and short-term savings. Once again, you build up to that. If you're only saving $25 a month, then it's all going to go in one type of account. But as you start building it, you can take 75% and put in long-term savings, 25% and put in short-term savings. And having a high-yield online savings account will make that money grow faster. Choice number two, tip number two. This goes right to the go or no go question that we received. You need to choose a checking account that pays interest. There are a lot of different banks. I just got finished setting one of my clients up at Citizens Bank in Philadelphia, based out of Philadelphia, to get more interest on her checking account. I want to say she's getting 3% on a checking account that has a minimum balance requirement of $1,000, which that may be high for some people, but for most people, they keep at least $1,000 in their checking account. So why not get this interest? The only time interest makes us sad is at the end of the year when we get the 1099 from the bank that says they paid us interest and now we have to pay tax on it. Other than that, I'm here to tell you there's something fulfilling. And if any of you have experienced it, you know I'm telling the truth. It's something fulfilling about looking at I check my apps way too often, but my financial apps get checked every morning and oftentimes twice throughout the course of the day. Don't ask me why. But it's something very rewarding when I see the dividend of 2 cents hit my account, 3 cents, 1 cent. I don't care how many cents it is. Somebody gave me money while I was asleep. I'll take it. The last thing that I'll say, the last tip, this is a little more complicated, so we'll close out on this. You want to build a CD ladder. I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of weeks talking to people. There are some great CD rates. A CD stands for Certificate of Deposit. And that is when you give your money to a bank for a designated period of time. If you want your money back before that period of time, there is a penalty to take it back. But you can give them the money for a designated period of time, and they will pay you a set rate of interest that is higher than what you would find in a checking account or a savings account. To ladder CDs simply means to buy CDs that have different dates of maturity when the CD is over. So you can buy a 6-month CD, a 9-month CD, and a 1-year CD. And then once your CDs start maturing, every 3 months they mature and they get the money back in your account. And you can choose at that point in time to roll it over or to take it. Either way, you're going to get more rate. Right now, Neiman Marcus, here I go. Goldman Sachs has a program called the Marcus program. It's their entree to lower price points in the financial services market, because Goldman Sachs is the big boy. You got to have like $10 million to invest with them. They've come out with Marcus to appeal to a lower price point in the market. And they are currently offering 5.05%. 5.05% on a 10-month CD. You got to start looking into these things, and you can find that on NerdWallet as well. So the 3 tips are high yield online savings account, a checking account that pays interest, and lastly, ladder your CDs. Set them up in such a way that they mature every other month, every 3 months, every 6 months, and money is constantly hitting your account. With that being said, I can't wait to see you guys next Wednesday for 15 Minutes of Finance. Have a great weekend. And remember, wealth is not only for the wealthy. You guys take care.
Thanks for tuning in to the Wild Network. For more great content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page at Wealth Our Way Network. Also, don't forget to follow us on IG and Facebook. Remember, wealth is not only for the wealthy.